What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your big bro Nate. I want to make a quick video today on life as a janitor. All right, I was a janitor for 10 years, started when I was 8 years old, and it taught me about a lot of things in life. It taught me a lot about human nature, taught me a lot about just life in general, built a pretty strong work ethic and an ethic that I take into my life, and I will actually use the things that I learned as a janitor to figure out people's values and how they treat other people. It's one of the most, I think, invaluable tools that I've learned. Just a quick backstory, right? So I know you might be surprised, 8 years old. In some smaller churches, they actually have a family clean that church. If you go to a small local church, maybe out in a small town, they're gonna have, most of the time, someone in that church is going to clean it. And that church normally has at least 2 days a week where they do services, right? Sunday and then like Wednesday night. So my family, we did that for 10 years. Well, I did that for 10 years with my family. Once I was 18, moved out, joined the military, went to college, all that fun stuff. I was the oldest of 3 brothers. My youngest brother was 5 when we started doing this. He has an incredible work ethic, but that's for a different story. My experience as a janitor was eye-opening, right? The treatment that you would get from people, especially in church, right? Again, this isn't just some like work building, but when you're a janitor at a church, guys, you're not just picking up the trash, the paper from the pews and throwing it away. You're vacuuming, mopping, cleaning, scrubbing toilets, cleaning all the windows, guys, everything you can imagine, emptying every trash can. If you're there, right, during the week, when they're actually having services, people, grown adults, are coming up to you and asking you to do things that they could easily do themselves, that you hope they do in their own house, right? People coming up and asking if you can sweep something up, vacuum something, unclog their toilet. Guys, some of the most outlandish requests in my opinion, because again, people can do this. But a lot of people feel very entitled. A lot of people feel like they shouldn't have to do such a lowly job. And for many years, especially as a child and growing into a young man, it really, in some ways, embittered me. And I don't hold that against anybody now, because I realize my own shortfalls and how poorly I can treat people and how that can rub off the wrong way. I have to check myself. I also realize that if you judge, you'll be judged in the same way. So I try to keep a level head and I try to understand. We would also do things like special events. So if a church had a conference or a wedding, you might get paid a little bit extra for that, right? My family did this job because we needed the extra money. And again, it was a very thankless job. People would expect you. In fact, in some ways, they would demand that you do certain things. And it's one of those jobs where very rarely did people thank you for what you were doing. It was always, you missed this spot, you missed this. So this helped me with extreme attention to detail. It also taught me something about life and people as I got older in life. And this is something I even use when I'm dating women, when I'm making friends, when I choose who to have in my life, because it says a lot about a person. If you do not clean up after yourself in a public space, right? It's the little things. Throwing away your trash, your gum wrappers. If you go out to a restaurant, not trashing the table, right? Making it to where the person who comes up and cleans up after you has an easier job, right? Consolidating all your trash, your plates and all that. Tells you a lot about a person. If they go about their life just trashing things everywhere they go, making a mess everywhere they go, they don't have concern for people. It's sort of like that social experiment people did with the shopping carts, right? People who put the shopping carts back end up being more upstanding citizens, and people who just leave them out in the parking lot, or make them fly down the road or push them into a curb or some grassy knoll somewhere are usually people who don't have concern for others. But one of the things it also taught me was humility. obviously being a janitor is normally, I would say for 99.999% of people, not at the top of their list of jobs to do. Most people are a janitor because it's either an after hours job, they need some extra money, it's a filler job until they get another job, right? Most people aren't doing this just because they want to, right? Some people, I understand, outliers, they feel like they absolutely have to, maybe a janitor at a school or something, they just really enjoy that job. But a lot of people are doing this because they need the money. So again, this is something that I grasped at a very young age, and there are full-grown adults out there who will look down, who will actually make the rudest comments and make the most outlandish requests because you are a janitor. To them, you are the lowest in the socioeconomic scale. And it shows you people's true colors. People who seem normal and seem like everything was great on the outside, but would treat you very poorly, talk down to you. And they would also take advantage of you in certain situations as well. What I mean by that is, let's say there was a wedding. There was multiple instances where people took advantage of a wedding and said that they just didn't have enough money to pay my parents, my family, obviously, because they had to spend money on the wedding. And guys, there were some very, how do I say this? There were some very intense situations, right, where friendships were torn apart because of this. People would make comments, people would do things, and they would literally look at my father and say, "Are you gonna clean this up?" Stuff like that, right? And my father, he is a guy that a lot of people do not mess with, that a lot of people would respect. He's a traditional man, stands up for himself, doesn't let people talk down on him. In a job like this, you have to bite your tongue. But it taught me a lot. It taught me invaluable lessons, because I don't think you truly understand what it's like to be human, especially in a Western world. You don't really understand what it's like to be human until you are at the bottom, until you are at the very, very bottom. And then you can understand how people actually work. It teaches you humility, obviously. It teaches you extreme attention to detail, because if you miss something, that's gonna look poorly on you, your family. It might cost you your job, right? If you keep messing up and things aren't actually clean, right? It says a lot about you. And I just wanna urge you guys, no job is ever beneath you. No position is ever beneath you. For a long time, I was sort of angry and upset that I had to do this for such a long time, that I didn't have a normal childhood like a lot of people. Like, in fact, I had to work for so many years, especially at a young age. But again, it taught me invaluable lessons. It taught me not to look down on people. It taught me to treat others with respect, no matter who they are, no matter what position they have in life, no matter what they're doing. And it taught me a lot of respect for people who are in other similar fields, right? We go to a restaurant, we go to a fast food place, and we tend to look down or treat the person behind the counter or on the headset like they're our servant, like they owe us, like they're subservient. We have to watch ourselves, guys. We really do. If you believe in religion, if you believe in God, if you believe in the scripture, it talks about treating others like you want to be treated. Love your neighbor as yourself. And I think one of the biggest issues we have in this world today is we treat everybody, we want to be superior. There's nothing wrong with being a leader, there's nothing wrong with being confident, but the minute you start to treat other people lower than yourself, to look down on them, to sort of step on them, to take advantage of their position, guys, I would be very, very careful, because I believe that there's a God, and I believe that that God is watching over everybody, and he's looking at how people treat each other. And I noticed that the people who would treat my family or who would treat other people poorly and lowly never seem to have a whole lot of joy in their life, never seem to have a whole lot of respect in their life. Who knows why? Maybe there's some story there, but at the end of the day, we have to treat each other with respect. We have to treat each other like we're made in the image of God, and everybody has a function, everybody has a purpose. You never know what somebody is going through. You never know what they're actually striving to achieve, if they're trying to get out of debt, if they're just trying to put food on the table. You never know if that family is just trying to make it by. You don't know if their kids are helping them work. This is something that's very common. We don't think about it a whole lot. Take it into your dating life. If you go out with a girl and she trashes the place that you go at a restaurant, right? You might want to think twice about it. If she talks down to the waiter, if she talks down to people, if she looks at people who are in the service industry, right? This could be really anything. She looks down on them, she treats them poorly. Guys, probably not a good person to be around. The same goes for your friendships, right? People are constantly looking down and berating people who are poor, who are lowly, right? Not good people you want to have in their life. I believe everybody has a mission and a purpose. Some people are going to be in these positions for maybe the rest of their life because they have to provide for their family. Some people are going to start out as a janitor and then one day end up the CEO of a company, leading people. And I think it's these experiences, I think it's these things that really shape people. So be grateful for what you have. Be thankful for what you have. Be thankful that someone is coming up and cleaning up after you. Thank the person behind the counter that you order your food from. Thank the person who comes up, the busser who comes up and cleans your table. Try to tip them if you can, right? Give praise where praise is due. A lot of people do thankless jobs and they go about their life and the only thing they ever get is the attention of, you didn't do this right, you didn't do this to the standard, you didn't do this the way I wanted you to, you're not working hard enough, you're not doing it perfectly. And oh my goodness, if we were just adults, if we were just realistic and we grew up, we understood the human condition, we treated each other with respect and understanding, how much further would life go? How much more happy would people be? So guys, just something to think about. I'm gonna share some other experiences, some other jobs I had in some later videos, but just wanted to give you an idea, a snapshot of what this looks like. Because I think a lot of people out there in these positions, they're gonna end up in these positions because money is tight, because we live in a tough world where you have to do things you might not really wanna do to make it by. But have faith, have hope, endure, keep going, do the best you can, do it unto the Lord. And guys, if you seek first the kingdom of righteousness, all these things will be added to you. Have that mindset. And guys, if you have any comments, you want to add anything, let me know in the comments below. Lord willing, I will see y'all in the next one.